From the moment Shen Yue and Dylan Wang appeared on screen together in Meteor Garden, fans couldn't get enough of their chemistry. Their playful interactions, stolen glances, and natural bond made people believe that something more than friendship was brewing between them. But as time passed, their once close relationship seemed to fade into silence. Interviews where they laughed together became rare, social media interactions stopped, and their appearances together outside of work vanished completely. And now, the question that everyone has been asking is finally being addressed. Why do Shen Yue and Dylan Wang no longer speak? What really happened between them? At first, their silence was brushed off as busy schedules. Both actors were landing major roles in different dramas, taking their careers to new heights. Dylan was becoming a leading man in action-packed and romantic dramas, while Shen Yue was gaining recognition for her versatility and emotional depth as an actress. But as time passed, something felt off. Other co-stars from Meteor Garden were still interacting, sharing throwback photos, and supporting each other's work. But between Shen Yue and Dylan Wang, absolute silence. Fans started digging for clues, analyzing every interaction, or lack thereof. Then, the speculation exploded when an insider source claimed that their friendship had ended on bad terms. According to this anonymous industry source, Shen Yue and Dylan Wang had once been very close, even after Meteor Garden ended. They trusted each other, confided in each other, and had a bond that was rare in the entertainment world. But something happened behind the scenes, something that changed everything. It all started with a confession. One night, after a long day of filming, Dylan reportedly pulled Shen Yue aside for a private conversation. According to the source, he was serious, nervous, and uncharacteristically quiet. Then came the moment that no one saw coming. Dylan Wang confessed his true feelings for Shen Yue. For years, fans had speculated that Dylan liked Shen Yue in a way that went beyond friendship. And in that moment, it seemed like he was finally ready to admit it. But Shen Yue's response? It wasn't what Dylan had hoped for. Instead of reciprocating his feelings, Shen Yue was said to have been shocked and uncertain. She didn't say no immediately, but she also didn't say yes. She needed time. Time to process what this would mean, time to figure out if she felt the same way. Unfortunately, that hesitation changed everything. Dylan, who had taken a huge emotional risk by confessing, felt exposed and vulnerable. He had always been confident, but this time, he was left with uncertainty. And then, before Shen Yue could give him a real answer, something unexpected happened. She was linked to someone else. Rumors started spreading that Shen Yue was secretly dating a non-celebrity. Some claimed he was an old friend. Others said he was someone she had met through work. The details were unclear, but the message was obvious. Shen Yue had moved on before Dylan even had an answer. Whether or not the dating rumors were true, Dylan felt betrayed. He had waited, hoping Shen Yue would open her heart to him. But instead, she was suddenly caught up in a romance with someone else. Their once easy conversations became awkward. The trust they had started to fade. And before long, they stopped speaking altogether. But the drama didn't end there. Fans began noticing that Dylan avoided any mention of Shen Yue in interviews. Whenever Meteor Garden was brought up, he focused on his personal growth, his experiences, but never Shen Yue. Meanwhile, Shen Yue, who had once spoken fondly of her time on set, no longer mentioned Dylan at all. Then came the biggest sign that something was wrong. Dylan unfollowed Shen Yue on social media. In the entertainment industry, this might not seem like a big deal. Celebrities often clean up their follow lists. But for fans who had followed their journey from the start, this was a clear message. Dylan had made a decision to cut ties completely. This move sent the internet into a frenzy. Why would he do this? Was it a personal grudge? Was he hurt by what had happened? Or was there more to the story than anyone knew? As speculation reached its peak, an unexpected voice entered the conversation. One of Dylan's closest friends. In a live stream, a fellow actor who had worked with Dylan was asked about his friendship with Shen Yue. The response? A long pause, followed by a simple, telling answer. They don't talk anymore. I don't think they ever will. That one sentence confirmed what fans had feared all along. This wasn't just a case of growing apart. Something had broken their friendship beyond repair. But Shen Yue, on the other hand, remained silent. She never addressed the rumors, never explained her side of the story. Some believed she didn't want to fuel the drama. Others believed she regretted how things ended. Then, in a rare interview, Shen Yue was asked a simple question. Are you still friends with Dylan Wang? Her response was polite but distant. "I respect Dylan as a colleague. We both have our own paths now." That was it. No warmth, no nostalgia, just a formal and final answer. And just like that, any hope of reconciliation seemed to disappear. But what makes this story even more tragic is that, despite everything, fans still believe they were meant to be. They rewatch old interviews, analyze every interaction, and wonder, what if Shen Yue had given Dylan an answer that night? What if Dylan had waited just a little longer? Would they still be friends? Would they have been something more? We may never know the full truth, but one thing is certain. The love story fans once dreamed of will remain nothing more than a bittersweet memory. But even as time passed, the whispers and speculations never truly faded. Fans clung to every possible clue, hoping for some sign that Dylan Wang and Shen Yue had rekindled their friendship, or at the very least, acknowledged their past connection. Yet, both actors remained silent. Dylan threw himself into his career, taking on bold new roles that showcased his range as an actor. His performances became darker, more intense, leading many to wonder if there was a deeper, emotional weight behind his choices. Interviews often touched on his growth and evolution, but anytime his past relationships, on-screen or off-screen, were mentioned, he dodged the questions effortlessly. Shen Yue, on the other hand, continued building her career with grace and quiet strength. Unlike Dylan, she didn't let the rumors affect her public persona. If she was hurt by what had happened, she never showed it. Instead, she carried on, portraying heartfelt, emotional roles that only made fans miss the warmth and authenticity she once shared with Dylan even more. But then, something unexpected happened. A fan event brought their names back into the spotlight. A moderator asked Dylan a question about Meteor Garden, a topic he had successfully avoided for years. Fans held their breath, waiting to see if he would finally break his silence about Shen Yue. For a moment, Dylan smiled, a nostalgic but distant look in his eyes. He spoke fondly of the show, of how it changed his life, of the lessons he learned. But when it came to Shen Yue specifically, he said nothing. The silence was deafening. That brief hesitation, that choice to leave her name out, only fueled more speculation. Was he still hurt? Had he erased that part of his life completely? Or was there something deeper, something he still couldn't bring himself to say? Meanwhile, Shen Yue also faced a similar situation. At an event for one of her dramas, a fan shouted Dylan's name from the audience. Cameras captured the split second where her expression changed. A flicker of emotion, barely noticeable, before she quickly moved on as if she hadn't heard it. It was subtle, but for the fans who had watched them from the beginning, it was enough. Time had passed. Feelings had been buried. But somewhere beneath all the silence, something remained unspoken. Then came the most shocking twist of all.